Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. This is Force with another Hearthstone deck spotlight. Today we'll be taking a look at Factions Token Roar Druid deck. The deck focuses on early and mid-game board control and then finishing your opponent with a bunch of minions and Savage Roar. We've got the early game control coming through spells like Swipe and Wrath, some token generators in the Imp Master and Violet Teacher, and then finishing with the Savage Roar and or Power of the Wild. Now with the general premise out of the way, let's take a look at the deck in action. So I am a little bit lower ranked than I'd hoped to be when I started doing the deck spotlight videos again, but I've just been tied up over the past few days, haven't been able to get back down to 5 just because I haven't been able to play the games. So yeah, we're just going to do this because I want to show you this deck. I think it's a very solid deck, especially in the current meta, and before it phases out, I want you guys to see what it's all about. So the Factions Token Roar deck. Mulligan early on, hoping for some strong 2 and 3 drops, didn't really get it. We did end up ditching the Power of the Wild, but that's more of a late game finisher, especially against a Shaman with all the spell damage. I'm not going to use that to put a 3-2 in play. It is much more so the case that I want to use that to pump up all my minions, because the deck is about getting a ton of small minions into play using token generators. Again, we're talking about things like the Violet Teacher, and using those token generators to have a bunch of creatures in play and then pump them up with Savage Roar and or Power of the Wild. Okay, so we're just gonna go like this, and I think we're gonna hit that. He could get the Healing Totem completely nullifying what I just did, but if he doesn't, then I'll be able to kill that totem next turn. Or he could get the Taunt Totem, so chances are, unless he gets the 1/1 totem, that thing's living anyways, so. Alright, never mind, he's gonna play that. In which case, this turn might just be a Claw to get rid of that thing. Because we don't want that in play. No, sorry, Bob, we do not. Get rid of that. Still has the spell power token in play. Next turn on 4, we're not doing much. Again, I don't want to use this. It's best suited when I've got a ton of minions in play to pump them up +1/+1. Holy hell, are you kidding me? That's a bit ridiculous. Well, looks like we have an answer for it, and this is what we will be doing. We're going to swipe that, killing his totem, resetting his totemic call process, which is good. Also getting rid of his last Flame Tongue. And here's a Yeti. It's just a solid mid-game deck we're seeing here. Actually, you know what? Never mind. We're going to do Power of the Wild now. Giving it +1/+1, at least temporarily saving him. Well, he dies from that, but get the extra damage, I'm sorry, is what I meant to say. So it could be 2, 3, and then we would just have to deal 4, 5, which could be with the Keeper. Don't necessarily want to use the Keeper against that, but see what he decides to do this turn. He should be going for this, because he's gonna be at 1 health, and then as long as he can do an additional 1 damage, which again, he's a Shaman, so we expect some damage from him. All sorts of spell damage potential, and there's really little reason for Shaman decks not to run them. Even if you're going like a late game focus, having that early game removal is pretty strong. Alright, so here's a Stormforge Axe, so it looks like he'll just take some damage to the face. Yeah, he's gonna get enough to kill that in one fell swoop. So he is gone. And then he chooses to hit me in the face instead of going for the 1/1, which I would say is probably a good play too. And now this kind of sucks, actually. Oh, there we go. It's 3 damage. And do I want to do the 4/5 with this, pumping him up, or with this? I guess we'll throw him in play. I guess so. Not ideal at all. But what can you do? Primarily want to be using these in most games for silencing big threats, big taunters, crazy stuff like that. But that 4/5 body is actually proving to be incredibly problematic for me. Yes. 3/5 sitting in play now. So we can do this for some card draw. Could also do this, which would give us the ability to kill that, but we'd be throwing away both of our creatures at the same time. So I feel like I might as well get the 2 cards, get a 5/5 body in play, and then potentially taunt something in the future. 2 cards, all right. We got our second keeper, which is good. We have our Wrath. Still not many of our token generators. The one that we did have has disappeared already. But again, remember also, besides getting that extra card draw, we got a 5/5, which is preferable over this 4/4 right now. I can throw him in play plus a Wrath next turn for 4, or 2 plus the card draw. There's a Lightning Storm, 3 to 4 across the board. And then he'll be able to finish this off with his weapon attack. Or maybe Earth. Well, a Shock wouldn't be a great move, but I mean, he could do it. He's gonna just attack it, just bringing him down, which I'm actually okay with. And you know what? I might just Ancient again next turn. So we could Drake Wrath for 4, but that's not enough for the kill. 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, it's not. If I go for this, we get some more card draw. And that 5/5 again. Let's do it. We're gonna draw 2 more cards.
Job's done.
Nice and full hand. And we didn't draw into any 1-drops. We could have got something like a Claw, although I wouldn't have played the Claw if we did have it, but it's, you know, something that could have happened. An Innervate might have been interesting. I may have innervated a Harvest Golem if we had pulled into an Innervate. Yeah, I think I actually might have, because getting that other body in play with what he's got right now wouldn't be too bad, especially such a value body, you know? So he's gonna deal with this other 5/5. Seems like he's, I mean, he does have this obvious answer, or this plus spell damage. I'm guessing he's looking to throw that away. Oh no, are you gonna pump this up? There's a Wind Fury. Okay, so we can kill that. Just with that 1 minion, he's gonna get a card draw out of it as well. Decides to use the Wind Fury instead of throwing away the taunt. Honestly, I don't know. Well, taunt's pretty big, especially if he has any inkling as to what he's playing against right now. Okay, got a great play this turn. It's gonna be this. And then a swipe for 5, plus 2, clearing his board.
Job's done.
Beautiful. Doesn't get any of the draw off of that, and now we've got tremendous hand advantage. We've got a 4/4 in play. And we are up 2 life. Now he's capable of some crazy burst damage though. Oh good lord. Doing burst damage to himself. The Shaman decks can be capable of some crazy burst damage, so I'm gonna want to get some taunts in play. No question about that.
Feel the power of the wind.
Eek. I want to kill that too. And I know what we'll be doing here. Let's see. That's 16. Don't have kill this turn, but I think what we'll be doing is we're gonna Wrath for 2 and draw a card. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Did I have? No, I don't think so. But we will in a future turn, because we're gonna go Imp Master.
I am not a morning
And we're gonna go like this. And then next turn we should have the game as far as I'm concerned, unless he completely clears my board. We've got double Savage Roar, so we had 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, potential 13 damage last turn, but that wouldn't have been enough because he was up 5 more health than that. So we were close to having a kill last turn, but not quite enough. Yeah, it wasn't quite enough. It was pretty close though, especially if you considered throwing a Defender of Argus in play for that 1 extra damage. Well, we actually did have that, so never mind. Yeah, it was close, but wasn't quite the kill. We should have the kill this turn. And I think this is a fair example as to how this deck is supposed to play out. Get these guys in play, and well, actually 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah, we have Fatal even without the double Savage Roar craziness. See if he's got anything potentially to protect himself, any big old taunters, any healing. Would pretty much be the Earthen Ring Farseer is about all there would be. And he is gonna walk into that because he wants to kill it. All sorts of craziness. 5, 6, 7, 8. We've got the Fatal without going too nuts. But, you know, this is what the deck is all about, so I might as well show it to you. Savage Roar. Savage Roar. There you go. That's the game. All right, so there's a win. Let's take a look at the deck list. Once again, I apologize. I was at a little bit of a lower rank than I would have liked. I like to be up around rank 5 because that's where the most competition is, but I think this is a solid deck, and I still wanted you guys to see it while it's relevant in the meta. So let's take a look at Factions Token Roar Druid deck. Starting off with 2 Innervates. A lot of times you'll be digging for 2 and 3 drops, things like the Harvest Golem, the Imp Master. You'll be digging for those, the Nat, in your opening hand, but if you have an Innervate, you can also dig for some of the 4 and 5 drops, like the Violet Teacher, the Azure Drake, even the Gadgetzan Auctioneer. Innervate, of course, also helps just pump out anything or get those extra combos out a little bit quicker. Doing fun things like Leeroy turn 6, followed up by an Innervated Swipe to get rid of his minions that he gets from that. You can do some cool things. You've got the Claw as early game removal primarily. Power of the Wild, while you can use it for the 3-2, remember, you're going to have a lot of minions in play with the Imp Master as well as the Violet Teacher. And fun things like playing a Violet Teacher, then playing Power of the Wild. The spell triggers the 1/1 before Power of the Wild buff applies. Also, Power of the Wild buff giving you more minions out of your Imp Master because of that extra health. 2 Wrath for early removal, Nat for some of the card draw, Savage Roar ×2. Again, this plus Power of the Wild is typically what your finisher is with a few minions in play. Harvest Golem because it's value, Imp Master for tokens, Swipe for control, Defender of Argus, extra health and allowing you to protect minions, extra health for things like the Imp Master, and then Taunt when you're playing against any aggro rushdown decks is helpful. Keeper for getting by large taunters when you're doing a finisher. Also, of course, you know, if you need to use it earlier on to eliminate threats, that's potential, but it's best used to silence an opposing minion. Leeroy Jenkins just as a nice finisher, Violet Teacher for tokens, Azure Drake, a 4/4 body, spell damage, and the card draw can't go wrong. Gadgetzan Auctioneer, lots of card draw potential in this deck with Innervates and Claws and Wraths and stuff like that. Only 1 in the deck, but that's because we've got other card draw through things like the Drake and like the Ancient of Lore. We've got the Force of Nature, just one of those. You could consider running 2 of them. Ancient of Lore is for late game and or the card draw. I could see people getting rid of this for another Force of Nature and then something else to push through some extra damage to go a little bit more focused on the mid and not so much to the late game. But don't discount the value of that 2 card draw or potentially that 5 health if you're playing against, say, a mage with Pyroblast. That can be very helpful as well. So that's the deck, guys. Factions Token Roar Druid deck used by Faction, who is a legendary ranked player. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. Stay tuned for the gameplay video, which will be coming up tomorrow. I'm going to climb that rank a little bit more, hopefully get closer to around rank 10. Things will get a little more competitive, should be more interesting. Thanks for watching, guys. If you like the content, please subscribe, keep watching, and keep owning.